Hi guys, so haven't had the experience that I had on Friday, just gone. What I really thought I wanted to emphasise was how much the different forms of therapy have helped me and how it does work, right? As I said, someone who I thought was a close friend basically just showed their true colours and really fucking upset me and annoyed me. Kind of thought, I want to send this person a message telling them exactly how they made me feel. Took a deep breath, kind of deleted them on a lot of social media, added them back, told them exactly how I felt, haven't gotten a response. But I was able to rest in peace knowing, and now only today, I might add, this is Sunday, don't know when I released this video, but the fact that I'm able to go, I don't care what their response is because they made me feel this way, so I want them to know that they won't be hearing from me again. Nice to know how you really feel about me. I'm not getting really angry, just going, I think it was pretty shitty what you said, and don't worry, you won't have to deal with me again. I don't want to be in your company. And before, I felt like I was blessed just to know this person. I had such low self-esteem that I thought just having female friends was something I should be extremely grateful for, considering where I came from and how antisocial or asocial I was. So I was like, you're lucky just to have anyone. So you should be fucking grateful for anyone that would want to spend time with you. So you don't get to have standards, you don't get to have self-worth. You just need to be fucking grateful for whoever shows up. And through meeting my friends from compassion focused therapy, Oisin, Isabel and Fergal, I really learned that they would just like me for being me, and all of me really, because they're going through shit themselves and they understand what it's like. I had Oisin on the show, by the way, so if anyone wants to check that video out, I recommend it. Really great guy and a good friend of mine. Haven't known each other a huge length of time, but I feel like we've shared a lifetime worth of stories and information, and I certainly see myself keeping in contact with those guys. But having them also lets me know what a good friend would be, and then having something to compare it to go, they wouldn't say this to me, so I'm not accepting it from anybody else. So thanks for that, guys, for being good friends and having a good comparison. So to get into the therapies I've done, cognitive behavioural therapy, CBT. It's been a while since I've actually done it. I did it in particular with Ashley, the counsellor in IT Tala. I'd done it before with other people, but it's like I call it like the building block of therapy, where you kind of reframe how you think about a negative situation. It's getting you to think differently. So for instance, you might have a big one for me, and it's an easy one to use. It's like I missed a tackle in the big rugby game. I got absolutely smashed in a tackle. We lost the game. All these negative things. Or you could say, which would be a great way of phrasing it, yeah, but you made 28 tackles. You won man of the match. So it's a positive way of looking at it. It's kind of getting you to reframe how you think about negative stuff. Obviously, you don't want to be taking a positive and turning it into a negative. I was doing that anyway, so I was the master of that reverse form of therapy, if you like. So it really just gets you to reshape your brain and how you think, and with neuroplasticity we can do that. You know, we're able to reframe our thoughts and how we think about things. So it is a good way of starting off, and it kind of eases you into it. And then once you've kind of exhausted the benefits to that, and you've done it and gotten as much out of it as you can, dialectical behavioural therapy, which I only did last year. It started early this year as well. We went from last year, but finished up earlier this year. That was great, you know. And what that does is goes a step further. So, like, this is before I got my emotionally unstable borderline diagnosis. I did suspect something was there, but they use it an awful lot for people who do have borderline personality disorder, emotionally unstable personality disorder. I say both those diagnoses because they're diagnoses. Diagnoses. Because it's the same thing, you know. They're the same thing, so it's just a different way of phrasing it, because borderline was confusing everyone, but because of the extreme emotional reactions that you'd have to things, and I definitely would, 100%, the little things would get to me. This gets you thinking even more so that something did happen. But there is another way of looking at it, and I get that it kind of sounds exactly the same as CBT. They are from the same building blocks, but what they do, and I think it's actually a really good example, is they'll get you to look at an upside down 6 or a 9, and that's the whole point. It could be either or. It's not standing upright in either direction, so it could be a 6, it could be a 9. Thank God it's not 69. Way. Am I right? I know, stupid, but childish, but I had to get it in there somehow. Probably not the right phrase to use after saying 69. But keeping it back to being mature, what it's basically doing is for more extreme events. So with cognitive behavioural therapy, the example I gave of the game, it's not going to, you know, ruin the rest of your life, unless of course you've got a really fragile ego. One game shouldn't. Now a build up of games could, and again I know the shoulds and the shouldn'ts and all, but realistically speaking, don't let a game bother you. You know, think like it's not the end of the world. You're not, well, say you're not going to die. Have been cases. You certainly get bad injuries playing rugby, but most of the time people don't die, thank God. So it's not life threatening. But I think dialectical behavioural therapy discusses more in-depth stuff, like traumas. You know, like losing a rugby game might be a mini trauma, maybe losing lots of them. Could be slightly so. Like, I'm not underestimating what you find traumatic and what I find traumatic. We all have our different stuff, but it's not as traumatic as, say, a parent beating you up, attacking you, constantly criticising you and putting you down. That is very traumatic. Sorry, 1 sec here now, guys. There's a tractor run on soon for Christmas. It's always a nice spectacle. Say, no one coming up now. Always nice to see. But yeah, like a parent beating you up, taking lumps out of you, punching you, it's fucking horrible. You get really low self-esteem because of that. You might have blame yourself for it. And then you carry out impulsive behaviours, you have strong responses to things, and you might beat yourself up over that, which I did, for sure. And then what you might do is say, look, so much shit happened to you. Because of X, you exhibit Y. So, because you were abused as a kid, because you were bullied in school, or whatever happened to you, all this horrible shit that happened to you, you have unstable relationships. It's not your fault, but it absolutely is your responsibility to fix it, because we're giving you the tools to do that. It's not going to be easy, but we will do our best to help you. So do you see that kind of progression sort of phase? I don't think that CBT would help in cases of extreme trauma, but DBT certainly could. Both therapies are useful in their own way. I would say if you have like just daily negative self-talk, but you're still being able to focus on tasks, let's try CBT. You know, let's give it a go. But if it's getting so extreme that you're bedridden, you can't get out most of the days, you're like me, you know, you're out of work, you feel miserable, you feel shitty about yourself, DBT, I think, is certainly the way to go, because it's getting so bad that it's literally dragging you down. And if there's been trauma in your past, like there has with me, letting me know that it's not my fault, but I absolutely have a responsibility to sort it, not only gives me relief that it's not my fault, but it also gives me the power to go, I can fix it. I have the power to do that. So that's a good thing, which is why I don't subscribe to the idea or the notion of Alcoholics Anonymous that you are powerless against this. Now, addiction is something that is different for everyone again, and whatever works for you, I'm absolutely 100% with everyone on that, but you want to keep as much power as you can and know that you have the ability to change if you want. You have to get real with yourself and be like, do I want it? Not only do I want it, am I willing to put in the work? You got to get real with yourself, and admit that you're out of control and you need to do something about it. And that's where I think dialectical behavioural therapy has helped me the most. It's like, look, a lot of negative shit happened in your life when you were just a kid, so you haven't developed it all. It was too much for you, so you developed these maladaptive coping strategies, which you have tried to work on them. Have you been perfect in doing that? Absolutely not, but you're not expected to be. Plus you have an autism diagnosis, and it would have been a lot for anyone to have thrown at them, but given the added diagnosis of autism, all this shit came about. And without that ability to subconsciously even go and look at a situation and think differently, I don't care how they respond. You know, I'm going to respond and let them know how they made me feel, and I don't care because they can defend themselves or apologise to me. That's not going to affect how I think about myself, because I have my core values now, my boundaries, they've been crossed, big time. I think it's unforgivable, for sure. I feel a lot more positive now, knowing that I've said what I need to say, and what they say will not bother me. And then compassion focused therapy goes, I think, even further. And I recommend that you do dialectical behaviour therapy first, before compassion focused therapy, and before dialectical behavioural therapy, cognitive behavioural therapy. So you're kind of building up the skills as you go, you know, like you would primary, secondary school, and then obviously college or university. Think of it like that. The University of Mental Health, we'll call it. But compassion focused therapy was my favourite by a mile, because it gave me the ability to see that poor child that was going through shit like me, you know, me as a kid. And what it does is kind of analyses how we have a tendency of having a lot of empathy and sympathy for other people, but rarely do we have as much for ourselves. We beat ourselves up a lot more. We call ourselves names constantly. We're very negative to ourselves. And it also gives us the idea that being compassionate doesn't mean we hand over our life savings to a homeless person. Might give them change and all that. But it's not wise to just hand over all of our prized possessions to somebody else because they're in need. We shouldn't be putting ourselves out and giving away everything we value. I'm not saying if you see a homeless person you feel sorry for them, you don't give them a bit of change, absolutely. But I gave this example before because I said how annoyed I was when I gave a homeless person some money and I had a box of cigarettes and I gave them. So I was drinking and the inhibitions were lower. Anyone else ever get like that? You know, you're drinking loads and you buy around for everybody. I was kind of like, you know what, these lads could do with a few of these. Now I give change to homeless people as well when I'm sober. But I was feeling extra generous and I was like, look, I'll give them a little bit. I was like, there you go. I was feeling pretty good about myself. I wasn't doing it for the praise or the attention. I wasn't filming it. Just thought, I'll make these lads feel better and it'll make me feel better. And they said to me, there's an ATM round the corner, you wouldn't take out a 50 for us, would you? And I was like, are you for real? Now I start getting annoyed. I was like, what about the money I've just given you? You're welcome. And they were like, yeah, but you know, it's cold out here. I was like, I understand that, but I'm not fucking paid the money. And just the lack of appreciation really triggered something in me. I was like, do you want me to take that money back? They were like, oh no, we're sorry. Of course I'm not going to take the money back now. Obviously not, you know, it's a fucking terrible thing to do. And they're probably mentally ill as well, so definite sympathy for that, but fucking lack of gratitude really annoyed me. It's something that really triggers me, is a lack of gratitude. Like, you know, when I don't feel appreciated, I'm like, oh, you prick, you fucking ungrateful cunt, you know what I'm doing for you? It's like an instant thing, because I've put so much thought and effort into something to try and make somebody else happy, and they've just spat it back in my face. So it's a trigger for sure. But what the psychiatrist did and the psychologist, they basically hit home that giving over all your money in that situation, or going to the ATM in my case, and getting them the money they asked for, would not have been compassionate. Would have been foolish to hand over all my money, because I need that money first and foremost. I've got a family that I've got a family to feed, man. No, like, but I have a mum who needs money as well, you know, needs rent. I have a brother who, you know, has his own mental illness as well, so I'd rather be able to help them first and foremost than anyone else. That's not cynical, that's being compassionate to myself. I'm not handing over all my prized possessions to you. That's not compassionate. And like, Oisin did an interview, like my friend from Compassion Focused Therapy. We were actually in dialectical behaviour therapy as well, but we didn't really have that kind of space to, you know, speak as much and have one-to-one chats. It's more formal, you know. what's going on there. But with this, it was a lot more personal, which I thought was good, and we hit it off. But so he's type 1 bipolar, so obviously has manic episodes. And he said he would literally hand over his brand new phone because someone said their phone was cracked. You know, you're manic, you get ultra generous. And I think with DBT, it really helped out with reframing the way I think, like the neuroplasticity. But talk about mania, I think with borderline, because you've now, and I know Isabel said it too, but you've now set boundaries, so you are more vulnerable to being used and abused. And when you idolise people, like I definitely have, you will want to give them the world. They're better than you, they're your saviour basically, you know. Put them up almost on a pedestal like Jesus Christ, but you literally put them as high as that, like they will save you, they're the answer to all your problems. And so you are very vulnerable to being abused if you do that, for sure. And not putting your value on everybody else, having your own value in yourself is so important. Having compassion for yourself. It'd be like, I need a break, I need a breather, you know, this is not working for me. You know, and I don't mean like if you're a highly selfish person and you do that anyway, you need compassion for others, not for yourself. You know, so it works both ways. But if you're a highly empathetic person like myself, you need to take a step back and stop trying to fix everyone else's problems. Like, I will literally get into a situation where I will feel, if this isn't ultra empathy for you, you say people with BPD aren't empathetic, but I will literally crawl into another person's body almost and be like, that problem is mine. I feel like they're after abusing me because they abused someone I like. And then people give out to me and just say, don't get involved, it's not your problem to sort. The person themselves will say it. So I have definitely learned that I don't have to fix everybody else's problems. I've got enough of my own, and until I deal with them, I can't be going off fixing everyone else. So like, all the stages of therapy have definitely helped. They all work together, and have definitely made me a stronger person. I think I'm getting over the big hurdles. It's gonna be tough, like, you know, because I think I'm finally like being myself, which means that we're gonna see who the true friends are. But I am in a much better position to deal with that now, because challenges have popped up and I've dealt with them. I have, and I'm very proud of myself for that. Very proud. The way I took that situation, like, I am going to give myself a little bit of praise, because what they said didn't bother me at all. I haven't heard anything back, you know, I've given them plenty of chance to say something. And I'm like, you know what, don't care. I've said my part. You've definitely seen this by now, I've given you enough time. You're blocked. Goodbye and good luck. See you later. I'm done. Don't need you anymore. So, yeah. Happy days. Don't need that person bringing me down. And I had the tools, which again, I keep saying, gratitude. I'm very grateful that I've had the opportunities to do all those therapies. Having the opportunity that not a lot of people get in the world even. Hugely grateful. So that's a positive note. Hope you all had a good weekend, guys, really do. Thanks again to everybody who's liked and commented on the videos I've made recently. I really appreciate it, guys. And on that note, I'll finish this video and I'll see you in the next one.